Hey, what's good YouTube? This is your boy Shakes the Sensation, aka the Football Sapien. You know the vibes. Consistency is key, so I'm back with another video. I wanted to react to these two videos for you guys, and it is ESPN FC that we are reacting to. The first question is Messi or Halaand who should win the Ballon d'Or. That's the first video. The second one is, was the World Cup rigged? According to Lee van Gaal, it was. So I wanted to make two separate videos so that I don't end up with one long video. So make sure you guys check that out after this. Let's get right into this one.
I'm a football sapient, radiant, trying to relate to you. The game that we just love to see. It's all up in my mind and hard to see. It's more than just a game, it's a lifestyle, it's my style. It's why I like to talk about it, rap about it, think about it, dream about it. And now I'm about to bring it to you, feed it to you, read it to you. It's all up in my head, cause I'm a football sapient. Astonishing, isn't it? Majestic, only deserves admiration, beyond contemplation. He is simply brilliant.
Because we're going to move on to Ballon d'Or nominees. That kind of set everyone alight this week. It is an international break, so of course we are reaching for anything to set us alight. The 30-man shortlist was announced this week. Of course, Leo Messi is leading the way with the odds makers, but does a certain Erling Haaland deserve to win more? Wait. Not me saying this, but Craig Burley might think so.
Tell you what, do us all a favour, and if Erling Haaland doesn't win this, close the shop. Close the shop. Lionel Messi won the World Cup. It's a great achievement, right? But it's a 4-week period. His general league form was not the best. PSG were terrible. Erling Haaland, over 50 goals, a Premier League title, domestic, was it the FA Cup? The FA Cup, Gunda one goal at the start, should remember that, and the Champions League. Erling Haaland should win this award. And now I know a lot of people out there can't get off the Messi bandwagon, right? But look at the bigger picture, and there's going to be a lot of Muppet journos voting for Messi. The big picture here is Erling Haaland achieved everything over a long period of time, and for me, as you know, this award, like a few awards, drive me nuts. But he's the one that I think deserves it. But I'm a bit like Jan. I think out there, it'll be full of sentimental claptrap. Messi won the World Cup. Messi's this, Messi's that, and they'll just hand him another one. And if I was Erling Haaland, I'd never go back to another Ballon d'Or in my life.
Well, I hope we don't have two Muppet journos here with us, but in case we do, let's find out now. So, Rob, we'll start with you. Leo Messi or Erling Haaland?
Thanks for that, Alexis. That's great.
Well, we're going to find out now by Craig's standards if you go with Messi. You may just be sentimental Muppet journo.
I am going to label myself a Muppet journo because I think that Messi should get it. I understand Craig's.
Okay, so I observed two things here. He thinks Messi should get it. The other guy is shaking his head, so he obviously thinks Haaland should get it. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna try to rate their case, because now they're gonna make a case for Messi, and then the other guy's gonna make a case for Erling Haaland. So I wanna rate their cases in terms of how they persuade me as a journalist to vote on the ballot paper. Let's see who convinces me more as to who should win it.
Argument, and it should be very, very close. But the World Cup is still the pinnacle of football, and Lionel Messi not only won it, but dragged his country over the line in the biggest tournament in world football. Now, even that will be up for debate. Is the Champions League a bigger tournament than the World Cup? In my opinion, the World Cup is still bigger. Lionel Messi was Argentina's standout player in that tournament, and they won it. For that reason, I think that he deserves to win the Ballon d'Or. I understand the argument that says that Erling Haaland should win it. He had a fantastic season. City cleaned up in Europe and domestically, and he scored the goals to help them do that. And I do feel slightly sorry for Haaland that he probably won't win it. this year, because if it was not a World Cup year, he certainly would win it and should win it. But I think Messi will win it and probably deserves to do so. Sorry, Craig, I'm up it.
Okay, if this was a debating competition and I had to rate his argument out of 10, I would probably give him like a 6. Yeah, he makes a good case, makes a few good points. Let's see what the Haaland guy thinks.
Argue, what about you? Are you jumping on the Muppet bandwagon too?
No, I'm not having that. I'm not, seriously. I mean, first of all, the World Cup was 2022, so it wasn't even this year. So the Ballon d'Or the vote could have been delayed a couple of weeks last year.
Okay, unfortunately, this guy has ruined. Remember, first impressions are important, and he just ruined his whole argument. Because if we're talking about the Ballon d'Or being for this year, then he is completely wrong, because the Ballon d'Or is not given in the calendar year, but rather is determined by the season. So as a football pundit, I'm surprised that he even said that, because, and I'll show you a picture here, the Ballon d'Or is actually given to a player based on the previous season, not the previous calendar year. So yeah, he already shows me that he doesn't necessarily know his stuff. But yeah, let's just give him a chance, man. Let's give him a chance. Let's see if he can redeem himself. I mean, the World Cup wasn't this year. Everyone knows that. No shit, bro. But it's still included in the criteria that the Ballon d'Or for this specific season is looking at.
To incorporate the World Cup, so it's, obviously it's not a World Cup year. It's a year on, and you know, Messi winning the World Cup, yeah, it's a big deal. Of course it is. It was a great thing to watch, a great story at the time. But if that means you have to win a World Cup or play in a World Cup to be a candidate, then you know, Erling Haaland's never going to win it. He might never get there with Norway, and that's not his fault. It's just, you know, unfortunate on his part that he plays for a nation that qualifies for the World Cup on a sporadic basis. And as great as a player he is, you know, it's just not. You can't use that as a barometer, because it's not a fair gauge. And I think, you know, Messi was terrible at PSG the second half last season. He was awful. In the Champions League, he barely got a kick because he was playing against the top players in the world in the Champions League. You don't play against the best players in the world in the World Cup. You play against the best nations. The World Cup has fallen so far in terms of the standard over the years. It's nowhere near.
Okay, unfortunately there I disagree with him, because if we're talking about the standard specifically of the World Cup, then no question it is the pinnacle, as was said in the first argument. I mean, the World Cup is the most difficult tournament to win. That is why it is so that is why it is given so much value, and that is why it is so important in the eyes of football players. Everyone wants to make a statement for their national team in the World Cup. Players cry when they aren't called up for the squad of the World Cup. But so for me, that is, you can hate Messi all you want, right? You can hate Lionel Messi all you want, but let's refrain from making statements such as the World Cup is not as difficult to win as the Champions League, because the World Cup is insanely difficult to win. That is why only a few players win it. So
the Champions League. So winning the World Cup, it's great, whatever, but it's not as big as, or it's not as hard as winning the Champions League, I don't think. So Haaland has done that. He's won a treble. He's been an amazing goal scorer. I think Haaland wins it every time. But Rob, listen, if winning the World Cup is part of the criteria to win the Ballon d'Or, give it to Julian Alvarez. He won the World Cup and the treble.
Listen, I was going to throw...
Okay, so we're not looking at the World Cup trophy itself, but what Messi did to get there, or his individual, because remember the Ballon d'Or is an individual award, so it's based on a player's contribution. Modric didn't win the World Cup when he won the Ballon d'Or, but because of where he took Croatia and what he contributed to the team, that is why he eventually got the Ballon d'Or. Players like Pele, we base their GOAT status on the fact that he got 3 World Cups, so it is very much significant. So I think that is not the question here, because if we're saying that it is based on a specific trophy, then I think we're not necessarily looking or respecting the criteria for the Ballon d'Or. It's based on an individual. Look at Benzema, look at Lewandowski when he should have won it in 2020. They cancelled the Ballon d'Or because of the COVID year. But because of Lewandowski's contribution, people thought that he should have won it. Because of Benzema's contribution last season, he won it. So it's not necessarily about what trophy you win, because if it is about the trophies itself, then people like Calvin Phillips should also be nominated for the Ballon d'Or. The whole City squad should be nominated for the Ballon d'Or if it's about the trophies itself. But I think it's about what you did in those specific tournaments that you were playing in. Yeah.
In man like Julian, because I got a lot of time for him, and so much so.
Hopefully this lady speaks sense, because so far I'm not liking their opinions. That's just me. I don't like their opinions and how they've attacked this. So hopefully this lady speaks some sense and is yeah.
The interview that we recently did with him, Frank Leboeuf commented under my picture and said, "This is the man that should win the Ballon d'Or." He's literally completed football at 23 years old. Now you can argue how much of an involvement he had. I mean, he has had some really clutch goals, because you can also look, Calvin Phillips won a treble. Are you going to nominate him for Ballon d'Or as well? So, I mean, Rob, what do you think?
Can I stress, Alexi, because a lot of fans will say it's a fix. They've said this over the years that, it's a fix that Messi wins, or it's a fix that Ronaldo wins it. So basically the voting system of the Ballon d'Or is 100 journalists from 100 FIFA top ranked nations. So it's one journalist from each country. So one journalist from the top 100 ranked nations. So basically, the journalist from Argentina will vote for Messi, but why would anybody else vote for Messi on the basis that, he won a World Cup? I just don't get.
So he has a point, and he's talking about the system in terms of how the Ballon d'Or is awarded. So if it was awarded based on a player's stats, well, which it is, like we look at the player's stats, but if it was given by France based on the player's stats, then they wouldn't have other people having to vote for them, because it's more of who you like at this point in time. Because the whole purpose of voting is like, who do you think based on what you've watched, not based on the stats themselves. Because, and I'm not saying that the stats are not important here, I'm saying that it is more of an opinionated question. If you ask me, it is more of who do I resonate more with in this particular year, and who do I feel like should win it. So, but you can't say it's fixed, because if it was fixed, it would mean that France itself is choosing who gets the award. So for me, I rule out that option to say that it is fixed, because it's not.
I don't get these individual awards. I think Messi and Ronaldo have taken the Ballon d'Or to a really weird level in recent years. It's become this celebrity thing that everyone's obsessed about, which, I don't think it's a real measure of the greatness of players. I just think it's become a bit of a kind of a mini competition between those two. So I don't think fans saying it's a fix is out of order, because it is a vote. So you have to kind of ask why 100 journalists think that if the vast majority pick Messi, then why is that?
Well, for the first time
the issue is.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, the issue is with the award, isn't it? Really, it's not with Messi v Haaland. The issue, like Mark said, the issue is with the award. It's very, very grey in terms of what it measures. And you're never going to see a goalkeeper, for example, winning the Ballon d'Or, because you just don't have the goals and the assists and the acclaim that a striker does. So I don't necessarily.
Yeah, you see, my problem here is that if we base the Ballon d'Or on goals, then what is the Golden Boot for? Van Dijk was nominated for the Ballon d'Or. Did he score 52 goals like Erling Haaland or Messi or Ronaldo? No. He was a good defender. It's an individual thing. So that is all for me, man. We can't just base it on goals. So if we're basing it on goals, of course a striker is good if he scores goals. Messi is not a striker, Haaland is a striker, so Haaland is insanely good at his job. Van Dijk in the year he was nominated was insanely good at his job. Messi this year was insanely good at his job, which is to create chances, which is to dictate play. So I think they both deserve it at this point. It's a question of who do you resonate more with. I think if Messi wins it, I wouldn't be surprised, because he deserves it. But if Haaland wins it, I also wouldn't be surprised, because he deserves it. So you can't, it's not a question of who deserves it. I mean, they both deserve it. If Messi wins it and people are like, Haaland doesn't deserve it, then those people should get pulls, because they are not finding the head. Of course Haaland deserves the Ballon d'Or. How can you score 52 goals in a season and do what you did with Man City and not be nominated for the Ballon d'Or? I mean, if he wins it, then good for him, because he deserves it. But if Messi wins it, then he also deserves it. So I think we shouldn't take away from any of these players. That is my opinion. Yeah.
I really see it as a Messi v Haaland issue. It's an issue with the award. That said, I will be proved right and Messi will win it.
Well, for the first time in 20 years, that's the lifetime of probably some of the viewers that are watching us right now, there is no Cristiano Ronaldo on this short list. Rob, no surprise?
No, it would have been a big surprise if he was on it, because he's not played well for an awful long time. Wasn't great at the World Cup when he got dropped. He wasn't great for United in the couple of months that he had before then. He's moved to Saudi Arabia. He's playing in a league that at the moment is at a different level to the top 5 leagues in Europe.
So little Messi.
I think he would have been. He won the World Cup and Ronaldo spent the second half of it on the bench. It would have been a bigger surprise if Ronaldo had been on the list, to be honest.
Well, thank you very much for watching.
Okay guys, that is the first video. That is all for me. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of that. Hit the notification bell so that you're notified next time I drop. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Was I speaking facts? Was I talking crap? Who do you think should win the Ballon d'Or? Who do you think deserves it? Yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. So make sure you check my other video that I'll be reacting